Channel 2 News.
Tonight, pictures that just a few weeks ago no one would have thought possible. PLO leader Yasser Arafat arriving at Andrews Air Force Base near Washington, and Israel's Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin en route to join him for tomorrow's signing of the Middle East Peace Treaty.
From ABC, this is World News Sunday. Here's Carol Simpson.
Good evening. They are the most unlikely of peacemakers. Yasser Arafat, the Palestinian guerrilla who for the last quarter of a century has embodied the Palestinian struggle for an independent homeland. And Yitzhak Rabin, the general who led Israel's armies on their lightning conquest of the disputed West Bank and Gaza Strip. Two bitter foes, two old warriors who made their way today to Washington in their appointment with peace. We have a series of reports beginning with ABC's Jim Bitterman.
There were familiar faces and an assistant U.S. Secretary of State to greet him. But for Yasser Arafat, arriving at Washington's Andrews Air Force Base this afternoon was a first step into politically uncharted territory. 10.5 hours earlier, with a brass band and honor guard salute, the PLO chairman's departure from Tunis had an almost triumphal air. But on board the luxury jet loaned to the PLO delegation by the King of Morocco, the mood was notably subdued. Looking weary after leading the PLO leadership through days of debate over the upcoming peace agreements with Israel, Arafat at one point came back to visit reporters. Building, he said, is a lot more difficult than fighting. And there was a sense from his advisors that after the months of secret negotiations and bold decisions to engage the Israelis in finding peace, the work was not over, but was just beginning.
Peace needs brave men.
In an interview, Arafat said he realized any extremist group could upset the peace process.
We respect the points of view of the minority, but the minority will have to follow up the decisions of the majority.
The most sweeping of those decisions will be put into effect when the PLO signs the peace agreement at the White House tomorrow, a decision from which all on board the Arafat plane knew there is now no turning back. Just flying away from the Middle East and its conflicts was enough to raise expectations, said one Arafat advisor. We know the past. From here, we can see the future. Jim Bitterman, ABC News at Andrews Air Force Base outside Washington.
Israel's Prime Minister Rabin is expected to arrive in Washington late tonight. As ABC's Karen Burns reports, he comes with the full support of his cabinet, but not the full support of his people.
It was the beginning of a momentous journey. Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin going to meet his avowed enemy. For Rabin, it is a high-stakes trip with perilous political risks. Peace in Israel could resolve many of the country's political and economic problems, but a failed effort would undoubtedly mean more violence and chaos. For Rabin, there is no turning back. Early this morning, the Israeli cabinet voted unanimously to approve the peace agreement, calling it a dramatic move with a lot of hope. But Israeli opposition leaders see it differently.
I think it's a terrible mistake on the Israeli side. I think it's a moral mistake.
Palestinians, too, are sharply divided. While some Palestinians in Jerusalem and Gaza celebrated, welcoming peace, in Lebanon, more radical Palestinians reacted in anger, denouncing Yasser Arafat as a Jewish spy, calling for death to Israel, death to America, death to Arafat. What seems a never-ending parade of death and violence continues. Random attacks on Israeli buses caused several Israeli and Palestinian casualties today, and 3 Israeli soldiers were found shot in the head, just hours before Prime Minister Rabin left for Washington. The weekend's events have made it clear that decades of passion and anger do not die easily, and that signing an accord does not necessarily mean peace. But the fact that the process is underway does mean that the politics and people here may never be quite the same. Karen Burns, ABC News, Tel Aviv.
The White House is preparing a ceremony for tomorrow's peace accord signing that befits the most momentous nature of the occasion. The images will be carefully crafted for a worldwide television audience. ABC's Sheila Cast reports.
At the White House, they're preparing for history one step at a time. The podium, the plants.
the sound system to carry the news across the South Lawn and beyond.
10, 9, 8.
And the 3,000 folding chairs that are the most coveted seats in town. Among the expected guests, 600 diplomats, including 10 foreign ministers and 2 former presidents. The current occupant of the Oval Office said he is hopeful about where the Israeli-Palestinian Accord will lead, a thought echoed by his vice president.
But it will take a long time and a lot of hard work, but it's a very hopeful beginning.
The parties will use the same antique table used when Israel and Egypt signed the Camp David peace accords. But this time, it will not be the top leaders, but the foreign minister of Israel and an executive committee member of the PLO who will sign. Rabin insists he is not backing away.
I would like to bring about a change. I would like to give it a chance. I believe that the risks involved to Israel in this agreement is the minimal.
As Arafat left for the U.S., he wore his customary pistol at his hip. A senior U.S. official pointed out that no one, except the Secret Service, is allowed to pack a firearm in the White House. The White House stressed that Israel has been a faithful ally for years, while the U.S. resumed dialogue with the PLO just 3 days ago. So President Clinton will meet separately with Rabin and his delegation after the signing, but not with the Palestinians. Sheila Cast, ABC News, the White House.
There are more developments in the Middle East peace process, and we'll have those stories in a moment.
You know, a Carnival cruise is the best vacation value going. You can enjoy fun days at sea, fun-filled nights, fabulous food.
Oh, boy, you can say that again.
Great Scott, Willard, what are you doing out here?
Kathy, I'm having the time of my life.
Take a 3-, 4-, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
Boy, I can't wait until the midnight buffet.
You think you'll have any room left?
What are you, a comic?
You're about to see another side of Efferdent, 2-layered Efferdent, with Arm & Hammer baking soda to help clean and freshen. 2-layered Efferdent, clean, fresh dentures come out of the blue.
Day after day, you make those glasses of thick Metamucil disappear. Why not make them all disappear with Fibercon? Doctor-recommended Fibercon gives you the same fiber regularity in tablets.
Easy-to-swallow tablets.
Get doctor-recommended Fibercon.
Overshadowed by the excitement over tomorrow's ceremony is an expected Israeli agreement with Jordan. Jordanian and Israeli officials met at the State Department today to work out the final details of a framework for a peace treaty between their two countries. Announcement of the agreement is expected Tuesday. ABC's Charles Glass reports from Amman on what the deal is expected to include.
Jordan's King Hussein said he was surprised when the PLO first told him of the PLO-Israel Accord. Now he is about to reach his own agreement with the Israelis.
What I would like to see is real peace to come not only to the Palestinians and the Israelis, but to all in the region, certainly Jordan, Syria, Lebanon.
But Jordan's agreement with Israel is only on an agenda to discuss outstanding issues, hardly the leap Israel and the PLO took with mutual recognition and autonomy in Gaza and Jericho. Jordanians say that after the PLO and Israel sign on Monday, they will agree to discuss with Israel first security. Each side will no longer threaten the other, and they promise to explore ways of eliminating weapons of mass destruction. Second, water. Jordan and Israel plan to find some means for each country to take a fair share from the River Jordan and its tributaries, a vital issue in the arid Middle East. Third, refugees. More than 2 million Palestinians live in Jordan, victims of the wars of 1948 and 1967. This could be the most difficult dispute. Israelis oppose their return while Jordan supports their right to go back home. Fourth, borders. After 1948, Israel illegally occupied about 300 square miles along the Jordan River, north and south of Amman. Jordan wants the land back, and Israel is willing to discuss it. Finally, looking to the future, the two countries will explore ways to share energy, protect the environment, and join their economies in areas like tourism. Not all of this sounds like good news to Jordanians, who fear domination by Israel's much larger economy.
There's the economic risk that the Jordanian economy may be overrun by the subsidized Israeli economy.
The Jordanians worry also that if many Palestinians reject peace with Israel, fighting will break out between Palestinian factions in the occupied territories and spread to Jordan. Jordanians are beginning to feel about a prospective peace with Israel the way many East Europeans now look at the fall of the Berlin Wall. Sometimes something everyone wants leads to more problems than it solves. Charles Glass, ABC News, Amman.
European community foreign ministers meeting in Belgium agreed to grant about $600 million in aid to support the peace plan. But others are not so enthusiastic, among them Jewish settlers in the Gaza Strip. As Jim Laurie reports, they are afraid of what will happen to them once they have to fall under Palestinian rule.
11 years ago, the last time Israel had to give up land, Yamit in Sinai. Israeli troops battled die-hard Jewish settlers who refused government orders to give up their homes. Today, with Gaza being awarded Palestinian self-rule, nearly 5,000 Jewish settlers here may face a similar fate.
It's hard for me to think about it yet. I don't know what tomorrow will bring.
In the settlement of Kfar Darom, no one talks of moving out yet. The Gaza Accord allows them to stay, but the facts may eventually overwhelm them. Kfar Darom is one of only 14 Jewish settlements in the Gaza Strip, all surrounded by barbed wire and more than 800,000 Palestinians. Security in what these people see as a hostile environment is the greatest concern. Among the 25 families here, 2 settlers have been killed by Palestinians in 2 years.
I don't know how I'm going to send my children to school when they have to go on a bus, and no Israeli soldiers are going to be here to protect them.
Most Israeli troops will be required to leave. Gaza will have a new Palestinian police force.
The terrorists of yesterday are going to be the policemen of tomorrow.
Mikhail and David Shenbaum are Americans who settled here only 3 months ago. They say they are as committed to the preservation of the settlements as any Israeli. But
having us here, a little pocket of us here and a little pocket there, within, a matter of time, it will all disappear.
The PLO in Gaza agree. They say they won't force Jews out, but
they will say now, look, we will remain. But in the minute there is a Palestinian police here, kind of state here, Palestinian, they will remove easily to the other side.
The Jewish settlers of Gaza look upon tomorrow's signing in Washington with horror and disbelief. They are a people overtaken by forces of change they cannot control. Jim Laurie, ABC News in the Gaza Strip.
The Israeli PLO peace talks may have taken the U.S. by surprise, but the breakthrough was the undeniable result of years of American diplomacy and political pressure. And as ABC's Bob Zelnick reports, the peace process will still rely heavily on American involvement.
The parade of Arab and Israeli diplomats to the State Department today emphasized Washington remains at center stage in the peace drama. That will be evident as early as tomorrow when Secretary Christopher meets with PLO Chairman Arafat.
My main point in discussing with him tomorrow will be the implementation of the agreement that's to be signed tomorrow.
That means translating a few general principles into concrete understandings on such matters as Palestinian self-rule and security for Israel.
As Israel takes greater risk with its security, the United States is going to be its security partner.
That could eventually mean U.S. troops on the West Bank or Golan Heights, just as they have been in the Sinai for years monitoring the Egyptian-Israeli peace. Another key U.S. role will be helping the desperately poor Palestinians, particularly in Gaza, by finding those willing to pour aid and investment into their communities. The U.S. will also press for accord between Israel and other Arab states, especially Syria.
If Syria has only a hazy approach to this agreement, then radical groups will get the sense that they can work to undermine it.
And the regional U.S. security umbrella must shield the parties from radical states like Iraq and Iran that almost surely will seek to undermine the process. U.S. policy will remain flexible. Just as Washington dropped the ban on dealing with the PLO, Secretary Christopher today hinted the U.S. might accept an independent Palestinian state if the parties agree to it. Bob Zelnick, ABC News, Washington.
ABC News will broadcast the signing of the historic Middle East peace accord tomorrow with Peter Jennings reporting from the White House. Special coverage begins at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. When we return, the Clinton health plan. The White House is forced to deal with its premature delivery.
On August 11th, we surprised our newest winner.
I won Publishers Clearinghouse. They're here, the Prize Patrol. Hurry up over.
You deserve it. Oh my gosh.
Congratulations. It was a day no one there will ever forget. We're the Publishers Clearinghouse Prize Patrol, and we're looking forward to seeing you soon.
Pain like this could mean you have sensitive teeth. Here's an effective solution. Brush with Aquafresh Sensitive. It targets the cause of the pain, microscopic holes that let hot and cold shoot straight to the nerve. Aquafresh Sensitive soothes the nerve and helps stop the pain. And with fluoride and that great Aquafresh taste, it can replace your everyday toothpaste, so you may never have sensitive teeth pain again. Aquafresh Sensitive soothes the nerve, helps stop the pain.
Twilight yawns as shadows fall, too weak to rise. Darkness fills the skies. Night winds scour the planet clean, allowing space for us to dream. What better time than this, as the night shapes its vast cradle, to pull the sheets up tight and lay down our heads for night. Serta, we make the world's best mattress.
I use a shampoo for dandruff, but my scalp still itches like crazy.
You need Scalpicin, the revolutionary scalp medicine for deep scalp itch, not ordinary dandruff. Scalpicin is not a shampoo. It's a clear liquid you don't wash away like shampoo. Apply Scalpicin anytime for deep scalp itch relief with medicine chosen by doctors over all these dandruff shampoo formulas. Scalpicin penetrates to relieve the itch and help prevent flaking.
The itch is gone.
Scalpicin, the scalp medicine for deep scalp itch.
President Clinton's long-awaited health plan wasn't due for another 10 days, but the entire 240-page plan was leaked to the news media this weekend. That forced the White House to take a surprise action today, as ABC's Bettina Gregory reports.
The news leaks of what's in the president's health care plan forced the White House to launch a preemptive strike to deflect criticism before the president formally reveals the plan September 22nd. Ira Magaziner, second only to the First Lady as the president's top health care advisor, held an unprecedented on-camera briefing. He says the Clinton plan provides two major advantages: low cost and universal coverage.
The vast majority of Americans will pay less for the same or better health benefits than they have today. And number two, the guarantee that your health insurance will never be taken away, no matter what.
The administration plan would pay for health care regardless of a person's age or medical condition with across-the-board savings, including a 12% cut in Medicare and Medicaid payments, and by establishing a national health board to enforce price controls on insurance premiums. This evoked strong criticism from the health insurance industry.
There's no way we're going to have low-cost health insurance in a world of high-cost medicine.
Doctors say the real question is how to provide universal coverage and still maintain quality.
Victory is we're finally starting down this line to access for everyone. Bad news story is it looks like it puts the dollars above my patients.
Republicans question the federal government's ability to control costs or provide better coverage.
I think under the Clinton plan, they're not going to be more satisfied because clearly the costs are going to go up under this plan.
The Clinton administration denies that, among other new taxes, it's considering a hospital tax. Another indication their plan's success relies heavily on holding the line on the cost of medical care. Bettina Gregory, ABC News, Washington.
President Clinton will take up another contentious policy debate this week, the North American Free Trade Agreement. NAFTA faces defiant opposition in Congress and a populist backlash across the country. And as Stephen Ogg reports, even an industry considered sure to benefit from NAFTA is divided.
Springs Industries is one of the biggest textile firms in America. This plant in Fort Lawn, South Carolina, is one of the most modern in the world, with these 2-year-old yarn spinning machines. They figure the North American Free Trade Agreement should help them sell lots more sheets and pillowcases in Mexico.
We expect the growth because Mexico is a huge untapped market with a middle class ready to develop. They're going to be the people who will buy our kind of product.
Thompson figures the additional sales should add about 900 jobs to the company's workforce that now totals about 20,000. That's because clothing assembled in Mexico will have to use yarns and fabric made in North America.
That's going to create a market that we can enjoy that some of our global competitors might not be able to enjoy.
Also, some of the apparel now made in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Korea, and which is sold in the U.S., may soon be made in Mexico because Asian manufacturers are facing rising wages. Ron Serini negotiated the textile portion of the free trade agreement.
People who import from there are looking for new places to manufacture their apparel. Many of them with NAFTA will go to Mexico. If they go to Mexico, they're going to use American yarns, American fabrics, American cotton.
America's textile mills, like Springs Industries, spent billions of dollars during the 1980s to become more efficient. Now, that cost jobs. But because labor is now such a small part of the cost of everything they produce, there's very little incentive to move plants like this to low-wage areas like Mexico. So opposition to NAFTA comes from some of the smaller firms that use a lot of labor, like Originate, which operates a small fabrics mill near Charlotte, North Carolina. It takes a lot of handwork to produce the fabrics, which means labor is a big part of the cost of production.
NAFTA means the death of my company.
Barami's workers earn $10 to $12 an hour. A Mexican may earn $1.25. So Barami and other manufacturers like him wonder how any of them can survive that kind of a challenge. Stephen Ogg, ABC News.
After being delayed 5 times since mid-July, the Space Shuttle Discovery finally roared into space this morning. This evening, the shuttle astronauts completed their first major assignment, releasing an experimental communication satellite. When we return, Dick Schaap with today's sports news.
Hey, down in Napoleonville, Louisiana, this is what makes Ace the place.
Service, and you get it. Right now, Ace 7-star interior satin latex, only $11.99 per gallon. And Ace polyfill 10 by 25-foot roll, just $2.44.
Hey, Ace is America's place for helpful service.
You've got the power! You've got the power!
The Lexus GS is equipped with a vehicle speed-sensitive steering system so responsive that it actually improves your feel for the road. Now, the only thing more exhilarating than watching the Lexus GS is driving it. The Lexus GS.
With steadfast stares, the people cry, bring future to new world. Time that goes by, the touch, the feel, the fabric of our lives. The touch, the feel of cotton, the fabric of our lives.
I was worried I needed surgery for my hemorrhoids. I was itching, and the burning was so painful. But my doctor said they weren't serious. I didn't need surgery, and to use Preparation H. She specifically said Preparation H by name. That's what I trust, and that's what I'll use.
Preparation H, trusted by millions to often help relieve the hemorrhoidal symptoms of itching, burning, and painful irritation for hours.
I feel great. I'm glad I trusted Preparation H.
Trust doctor-recommended Preparation H.
Monday, reports of doctors out of control, neglect, harassment, bad medicine. When he went after those sworn to save lives, someone threatened his. Day 1, Monday.
Now let's go to New York and Dick Schaap for today's sports highlights. Take it away, Dick.
Thank you, Carol. Pete Sampras is once again the world's #1 tennis player, and the Dallas Cowboys are now in last place in their NFL division. Cedric Pioline didn't put on a bad showing for a 15th seed, but the Frenchman never really had a chance against Sampras, adding his second U.S. Open title to the Wimbledon crown he won last July. Baseball now has 4 lively pennant races going. In the National League East, Montreal won and Philadelphia lost, cutting the Phillies' lead to 5 games. And in the American League East, Paul Molitor's tie-breaking 3-run home run lifted Toronto to victory and widened the Blue Jays' lead over Baltimore and the Yankees, who lost to Kansas City to 2 games. In the AL West, Texas and Chicago both lost, and the Rangers remained 3.5 games behind the White Sox. The Dallas Cowboys, the Super Bowl champions, are now dead last in their own division. The New York Giants won their second straight, and so did the Philadelphia Eagles. Randall Cunningham's fourth quarter touchdown pass tying the score against Green Bay, setting up Roger Ruzek's winning field goal in the closing seconds of play. Two other teams in the National Conference East, Phoenix and Washington, both have 1-1 records now. Johnny Bailey's 54-yard return of a Reggie Roby punt, helping the Cardinals beat the Redskins for the first time in 15 meetings in RFK Stadium. The Cowboys, who lost to the Redskins Monday, lost to Buffalo in a Super Bowl rematch today. The value of holdout Emmitt Smith seems to be going up with each Dallas game he misses. And incidentally, Joe Montana, with an injured wrist, did not play today. His Kansas City Chiefs lost to Houston. Carol?
Thanks, Dick. And we'll be back in a moment.
Why are these people smiling? They've got Polidin Infopartials with the power to clean the pearly part and the metal part in just 5 minutes. So get Polidin Infopartials, because, hey, it's good looking on almost everybody.
Everybody needs some money sometime. Everybody
When you need
some
money
cash.
fast. Hello, Sue. Come to Western Union. We send more money to more people in more places than anyone else. Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
A puzzle. With so many stomach remedies around, how do you know which you can take for heartburn? And for diarrhea? And for upset stomach? You take Pepto-Bismol to relieve most any common stomach problem: heartburn, upset stomach, and diarrhea. So who needs anything else? That is a puzzle. Pepto-Bismol's the only one you need.
Monday, I'll be in Washington as we focus on events leading up to the signing of the agreement between Israel and the PLO.
Complete coverage of this historic event on Good Morning America Monday.
Once again, our top story, PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat has arrived here in Washington. Israel's Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin is on his way to join him for tomorrow's signing of the historic Middle East peace agreement. President Clinton will play host to about 3,000 guests and a worldwide television audience at a signing ceremony on the South Lawn of the White House tomorrow. Again, a reminder, ABC News coverage of the signing of the historic Middle East Peace Accord begins tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's World News Sunday. I'm Carol Simpson. Good night.
From Washington, this has been World News Sunday.
Tonight on Super Sunday, the show people